Today's episode is brought to you in part by Off the Record. We love Off the Record. They are here to help. If you get a ticket for anything, big, small, don't plead guilty. That is for suckers. You need Off the Record, and the Smoking Tire will get you there. Go to offtherecord.com/TST or download the Off the Record app and use code TST10. Off the Record will set you up with an attorney who will fight that ticket on your behalf. You don't need to go to court. You don't need to meet with prosecutors. You don't need to go to the cops. You don't need to do anything. Off the Record is here, and they will deal with it. And if they don't get those points off your record, money back guarantee. I love Off the Record, and you guys objectively love Off the Record. You tell me so in the DMs, in the emails all the time. So get it on your phone, get that account ready. That way, if you get pulled over, you know where to go and you know what to do. Their success rate is amazing. They can even reopen closed cases if you need to get points off of your record and renegotiate after the fact. Pretty amazing stuff. Offtherecord.com/TST or code TST10 in the Off the Record app.
How was the WCCS sponsorship of the
Cars and Coffee?
Beach, Cars and Coffee.
Manhattan Beach.
Manhattan Beach.
It was all right.
Did you guys have like an easy up thing?
Yeah, we had a custom easy up made. Looks really good. It was basically just like awareness. Mm-hmm. It was like, want people to know that we were there.
That makes sense.
And no like, yes, I'll sign up right now. But considering it really didn't actually cost us anything and we were just talking to people, I think our awareness was good. The one thing that made me really happy about that was that I met a lot of people who were there from the South Bay. It was like they weren't coming down from Beverly Hills to go to that car show. They were coming up from Redondo Beach and Palos Verdes and other places. So us being there, like those customers will find us convenient.
That's good.
And like they existed.
That was the mission, I assume.
That and I believe I succeeded. I wanted the guys who run that car show to ask me to use my shop as the location. I want them to have car shows at the South Bay location, which they did ask to do.
Oh, cool. So the ones you don't have to organize.
Yeah, they organize it. I just provide the venue.
Oh, great.
That's what I want.
That's very smart.
I don't want to run to the shows. I just want to go, here is my lot.
Right.
Use it.
And then people go, oh.
Yeah.
How much
do you charge? And then, by the way, we're there.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
We also, like, the last week, we had a fucking run of sales. Like, I have to say, making a sale and not like, hey, I'm selling you something, like building a building, offering us, creating a business, offering a service, and having people learn about it and then go, I want that, and I'm going to pay you thousands of dollars over the course of a year for that, is like way more satisfying than putting a lot of time into a video for $500.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that.
That people will skip the add-on because they think they see the value of that video as being as close to zero as possible. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's really like when we first opened that shop, same thing that happened here. You open, you're really excited, it's open, construction done, business open. But like the month of July and the first 2 weeks of August are like death in LA. People are out of town, like just fucking crickets. We had like 4 cars move in, and I was like, I'm a moron. I'm the worst. I'm stupid. I'm a failure.
Same thing as last time.
This is all terrible. And then in the 2 weeks after Pebble Beach, we made like 11 sales. And I was like, oh. And it wasn't people just looking for a cheaper option. It was people who live down there, and like we did all this other shit, like started focusing on certain things, like updating the website and blah, blah, blah. And like, sales are happening now. In the last like few days, we've been like crushing it in sales. Like we're sold out again here. It took from July 1st when 11 cars moved to South Bay from here to end of August. So it took 2 months to refill the 11 cars, those 11. Yeah. And then also sell down there. Mm-hmm. So, if we can keep up, there's obviously, there's no guarantee we could keep up the pace. There's no guarantee of success or failure. But like, if we could do 2 cars a week, then we're full in 8 months down there. So
That's good. And you don't need to be full tomorrow.
I don't need to be full tomorrow, but like, expensive building.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, insurance, expensive.
Yeah.
Staff, expensive. Utilities, expensive. So like, we need to be at like, we really need to be at about 40 to 50% occupancy to like pay the expenses of that building.
I mean, if that's your break even though, that's amazing because assuming you go beyond, I mean,
right.
That's
But
great.
once we open the building, another building, the expenses go up,
True.
but not as much. It's not double. Like it won't take twice the staff to run both buildings, but like we're running on a pretty slim staff right now. So I'd like to have 2 more guys down there, but the money and the work don't quite justify it yet.
Yeah. Right now, there's not that many cars down there, right?
No, right now there's like 28 cars down there. When we get to like 40, 45 cars, then I'm going to hire another guy. And then when we get to like 60 cars, I'm going to hire another guy. And then hopefully by the time we fill that building, which is 90 cars, the other building will be ready. That's the plan. And so far the math works out on it. Although that first month, goddamn, was I panicking.
Yeah.
Especially because I wasn't there. I was in Europe. I was doing all this other shit.
I wonder how many buildings you'll have to open before you get comfortable knowing
Before I
that,
have
like,
enough.
No, never. No. Like where you go, okay, this is how it works. Like it's always quiet, and then we have to
Yeah.
get the word out, and the
Yeah.
word takes a little bit of time,
Yeah.
and it just works itself out.
I don't know, man. I really want to...
Probably-
I need to put a sign on my desk that says July and the first half of August are death. Like it's just gonna die. Everyone's gone. No one's looking for this stuff right now. But like, everyone's talking about the economy and tightening their belts and all that shit. And it's true, but like there are still some people that need us. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that can still afford the parking.
And the cars that
ones
are
that are
coming
buying
in are
houses in
fucking
cash.
cool. The cars that are coming in down there are perhaps even cooler than the cars that are coming in up here.
Really?
Dude, we got a Persang Bugatti moving in today.
Oh, yeah, that wins.
355 just moved in. Ferrari, a 400i Ferrari just moved in. An amazing 68 or 69 Camaro Pro Touring, not over the top, great California cruiser. An Alfa Giulietta, like really interesting stuff. Not it like here at Playa Vista, it's probably 40% 911s.
It really is.
And I love a 911, but like it's a 911. Another one. Yeah, another. I'll take another one. Your money's green too. But it's like not. It's a little more variety down there, which I am kind of interested in.
It's cool. There's a 355 here for a little bit, right?
There's a 348 that's still here.
No, there was
There
a
was a
355
355 here for like a second.
Yeah, like a month.
Yeah, and I don't know where it went. But the 355,
It went to the repair
348
shop.
that's here is very good.
It went to maintenance.
And I thought for like, so I went up to John Ward's to Icon to get my coat. You see the coat?
I went to your Instagram to like pull it up, and I was like, "What is this?"
The fucking coat is rad. So John Ward is doing these campfire coats, and they're handmade from blankets. So you can get a vintage Pendleton blanket, or I bought a brand new. He goes, just go on their website. They got like 100 blankets, and you buy a blanket.
Wow.
And he turned it into a coat in like days.
It's got to be so cozy.
It's so comfortable, and he fitted me. It's made to measure.
Okay.
And you can just get a regular size or whatever, but buffalo nickel buttons. I mean, stunning. Look at some of these coats.
Oh man.
So he also just I saw him and he's like, I got a haul. He fucking went to an estate sale and bought like 50 vintage blankets off of some guy. And so he's got crazy blankets. It's kind of a good thing that I bought my own blanket from their website, but like, because if you get the vintage one through him, it's more expensive. But like, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like mine was already done and I'd already paid for it. So like, okay, I only need one. But like the blankets he was showing me that he just got are like fucking fire, like crazy
Oh,
colors.
you could go down the rabbit hole where you're
I
like,
could go down
"Ooh."
the rabbit hole of just batshit colors and patterns and stuff. But just absolutely beautiful. And considering they're like handmade, made to measure, you know, really nice, not insanely expensive. Not nothing, but like...
Well, he charges, what, $25 an hour, probably?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, his coat's like $80.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went up to go get the coat. It fits awesome. I'm super stoked. It's my fall wardrobe for sure. But, you know, he's got this Bentley. It's a 93 Continental R. Short wheelbase coupe. It's tan. And he used it as a daily driver for like 2 years. And then it's kind of been sitting. And for like a couple hours, I was like, I'm going to buy this car and I'm going to use it as a daily in LA.
South Bay's filling up.
It's just,
let's do it.
I just wanted, I was like this, and I brought Hannah. I was like, what do you think of this? And on the drive home, we were both like, we're going to buy this Bentley. It's like, it's cheap. It's an old, it's a 60,000 mile 1993 Bentley.
Yeah.
But like
cheap to buy.
Cheap to buy. It could easily be 15 grand in maintenance.
Right. Yeah.
Like who the fuck knows what's lurking under there? Ran when parked, 8 months ago. But like by the end of the day, we were like, this is a terrible idea. We cannot do this.
It'd be fun.
And then it would be fun. But then this morning I got a bill that's like from my accountant. It's like, here's your quarterly estimated tax payment. I looked at it and I went, no Bentley. Absolutely not. Pay taxes, not Bentley. But Donnie is like, I want that Bentley.
Donnie, you have enough cars. You got to finish them.
And I was like, Donnie, what if I buy it, see if I like it, and if I don't, you take it. And he was like, so you're telling me, he goes, you could be the first person in history to pay for their Countach maintenance in units of Bentley.
Yeah, you're going to trade him. Trade him a Bentley for work.
Bentley for maintenance.
I bet that's happened somewhere back in the 70s.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So definitely someone's been like, just take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, tan.
I don't know if that would work because if you didn't like it,
tan.
he would ask why. And if you had a long list of reasons why, he might go, oh, maybe I don't want it. And then you're stuck.
I did like it. I sat. The seat was amazing. I mean, it's beautiful wood. It's got a bunch of cool quirks and analog gauges everywhere and like pull levers and
95. You said
93 Bentley Continental R. And add the word tan because it is truly exceptional. Yes, look at that.
What?
In tan. It doesn't have those wheels. It has the later wheels, but like, I mean, it's pretty rad, right?
I like the front.
Yeah.
Well, you and me, we have a difference of opinion when it comes to the tan and gold colors, and I'll let you have this one.
As a Jew, I am obligated to like this.
Bro, I was raised Jewish. I had a bar mitzvah.
And you're not fucking with the tan?
No.
In this photo,
although I am not genetically Jewish.
The tan, that's true. That's why. That's why. It doesn't go through adoption. The tan center caps in this photo, look at the bottom left there. It has those wheels on it. Those are much better wheels.
But like this color to me, this
sure.
green, yeah.
But there's something about tan that is really, where I live, it's predominantly octogenarian black people. And I feel like nothing would endear me better to my neighborhood than rolling around in this cream-ass Bentley.
A cream or gold car is definitely an old person's color. Like one of my grandmothers had a gold Camry. And I was like, what is this color? But it's just that's popular among that demo.
Yeah. But I think I had to pay my taxes today, and I think that probably wipes out my Bentley money for the quarter, pretty much. But I feel good about paying my taxes. I have bought myself civilization. That's what my taxes.
Paid for your road.
Yes, I've paid for civilization. So that was my weekend. That's how my life is. I treat myself to a coat, and while I'm there, I'm like, Bentley.
You're like, ooh, there's another car to buy.
A car I don't need.
You haven't bought a car in a month.
Yeah, no, it's just dumb. I'm still waiting on my NSX. They had to spray the front bumper. It was supposed to be done on Tuesday.
Did it rain last week? Wait,
yeah.
Tuesday.
It was supposed to be done yesterday. But they didn't call
all
me.
right. Well,
It's
Labor
whatever.
Day, I mean, one day.
Yeah.
If it was a week, okay, that's...
They said they were having trouble matching the paint, which is weird because it's silver, but I don't know.
Do you think, well, if your stock paint faded a little bit or changed?
17,000 miles. The car's been garaged its whole life.
Oh,
I don't
then
know.
probably not.
It's really strange.
It might be, I don't know, it might be hard to find.
Maybe they just suck. I don't know. No, they don't. They don't suck. Shout out to South Bay Certified Collision and Repair. They're Tim.
Oh,
It's
they have
Tim's
like
place.
the crazy wall of mixers.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Tim's doing it. Yeah.
I mean,
he's gonna get it.
their paint room's
And what the fuck-
incredible.
What do I care if it's a day or two later? I don't
For anyone, if you didn't watch our 135i video number 2, they have a room that has 80 to 90 little jars of paint that are constantly being mixed, and then you type a thing in a computer, and it pulls with little straws and mixes your paint for you.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool.
very cool.
Yeah. So but I don't know if I mentioned this, when we removed the original PPF on the nose, as happens with cars from this period, it pulled off paint on the front bumper. Like, that shit happens all the time. It's very, very common. That old-ass PPF from, 2000 to 2010, if you remove it, paint's coming too.
Related, someone heard me, our friend Naveed, he heard me talking on the show about possibly wrapping my car. I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I could wrap it in green and da-da-da. And he wrote me, he's like, don't do it. The number of cars that have paint come off when the wrap gets removed.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
the whole point is to protect the remaining paint. And
Yeah,
clear
if
coat.
you wrap a brand new car, then it's probably fine for 2 or 3 years and it won't pull paint off. But if your paint is 20 years old,
Totally.
it'll fucking take your paint off.
Yeah, I'm
for
not
sure.
doing that.
So with my NSX, I'm doing full PPF, so they really prep the surface. And the new PPF, the glues are better now, the films are better now. But to remove the original film, it took off paint. So I had to paint the bumper, and then I have to wait a month for the paint to cure before reapplying the new PPF.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I got to drive around like an asshole with no fucking PPF and no badge on the nose.
Slipstream. It's aerodynamic.
It's aero. Yeah, it's definitely aero. Bonneville. It's a Bonneville. And no windshield sprayers either.
Yeah, it is Bonneville.
Yeah, it's fully.
It's like the GT2. There's no rear wiper.
Yeah.
I had to give money to Avis Autosport yesterday.
Uh-oh.
So I needed a new fan clutch. It had been like 5 years, and the thing just leaked all its hydraulic fluid. And then my AC had been getting weaker. I was like, it's cold, but it takes longer to
barely?
get cold, only barely. So they plug in this crazy machine and measure it, and it needs like 1.6 bar or whatever the unit was.
Yeah.
It needs 1.6, and it had 0.6.
Oh.
So they just recharged it, which is great, and now it's frosty.
So, but it wasn't leaking.
No.
It's just over
Correct.
a long period.
Over a long period of time. Yeah, thank God. Because,
I
parts
need
get
to charge the
expensive.
Delica's AC, but it's R12.
Oh,
So
you got to go black market.
Yeah,
you need a Bitcoin. You need a tumbler.
Well, you
buy
can go
it
to
on
like
Silk Road.
AutoZone and shit and buy a can of R12.
You can.
Yes. It's not shady. It's just like there.
I thought
Vinny was like, "Oh, I'll just go to AutoZone."
Which is the one that everyone loves that you can't get anymore?
R12.
Oh,
Yeah, it's R12.
Why do people act like Musto? I think was acting like you couldn't find it.
Most of the shops won't do it. Like you can't. It's hard to. It's hard to go to a shop.
But the citizens can just go for it.
Yeah, like the machine that they hooked up to
Yeah.
your car. Those don't exist for R12 anymore.
Yeah.
You only can do it with the fucking can from the AutoZone.
Okay.
But like I don't know. If your R12 system breaks, it's I don't think it's legal. Don't hold me to this. But I don't think it's legal in California to repair an R12 system. I think if it breaks, it has to be converted to 134.
Got it.
Which, all right, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But when last time I was in an auto parts store, I saw the cans of 12. You can buy them.
Is that what you bought? Remember with the Previa on our Utah trip?
Yes, and it all immediately leaked out into the atmosphere.
Matt hooks it. The AC's not working. The van is perfect otherwise. And you go and buy this AC refrigerant, plug it in, and then it just went out a different hole.
Yeah. Totally leaked into the atmosphere.
Yeah, immediately.
I don't think that might not have been 12. That might have been 134. But whatever it was, it was the can, and I did it wrong.
Yeah.
It was not good. God damn, what a great car that Previa was. Oh, delightful. Delightful to drive.
Yeah,
delightful to sleep in.
It was really nice.
Good at off-roading.
Way nicer than the Elantra
Turns
we
out.
had.
Good at off-roading, too. Yeah. Lift off, oversteer was excellent.
We had that too, just need more commitment.
Right? Today they're dropping off a Polaris Slingshot. which will be interesting. First time I drove one, didn't like it. But at the thing in Germany last year at Tegernsee, I met a engineer from Polaris who told me about his spec Miata. This guy has a Miata race car. He and the other people who were tasked with re-engineering the Slingshot for better dynamics. It has a new engine, it has a new suspension, it has new steering, and in theory, there was there was a major overhaul in 2020, including a completely new engine. And he said, I really think you should try it again. You know, it's not as good as a fucking Miata or a Corvette, but it was significantly improved from the dynamics. The engine now like revs to 8. And so Polaris approached me and said, would you like to have a go? And I said, actually, I would. And then they almost kind of backed out of it a little bit. They're all like, wait. What are you going to do with this thing? I said, you know, the thing that we do. And they're like, but... And I was like, you guys emailed me.
Did you respond, oh, definitely, and they thought you were being sarcastic through text because they read your previous review?
I said I talked to this guy about who engineered the new powertrain and said it was better and I should try it. And I, in good faith, want to try it. Who knows?
Would you know which one you're getting? Because we have 5 miles.
I said I want the fastest one you've got. And I think all of these, there's S, SL, SLR, R, and the Roush edition.
Unmistakable Roush looks.
Unmistakable, yeah. I said I want the highest performance one you have, and I don't care about the trim, and I would prefer a manual because it comes in manual and auto, and the auto does have paddle shift.
I didn't drive. So does the manual come with like a stick shift manual?
Yeah, stick.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sequential like motorcycle?
No, stick.
Really?
H pattern.
H pattern?
Yeah.
I've never driven one of these.
Yeah, it drives like a car. You know, it's not, the last one I drove, the dynamics left something to be desired. It wasn't horrible. It just was like, my opinion of it originally was that for 24, 26 grand, whatever it was, and the price has gone up, it's now like 32. But that was like 8 years ago, 33. You know, for what, at the time, 24 grand, it could have bought you a used, like, real sports car. You could have got into a Corvette, you could have gotten into a great Miata, you could have gotten into a Z4 or something like that. You could have bought a real, what you don't get is the sort of exotic looks. And here in Los Angeles, I don't know about anywhere else, here in LA, you don't see these in the canyons. Where you see them is cruising on Sunset Boulevard, you know.
Same in Miami. They rent a lot of these.
Yeah, parked up in groups with a lot of crazy LED lights and stereos and stuff. It's basically like, it's similar to where you see like the big bagger bikes, you know, with the stereos and the crazy paint jobs, and the people cruise in them, which, fine. That is what it is. But like, I don't know. They said they made it better. So I asked them to send me one, and I got it for 3 weeks.
It looks 200 horsepower, probably weighs nothing.
200 horsepower, 8250 RPM, 144 pounds of torque, 8 pounds per horsepower.
That's very good.
Dual overhead cam head, 1,600 pounds.
Wheelbase, 105?
Yeah.
Wow. That's like
It's little.
M3.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah, wheelbase. That's pretty good.
Oh.
102 to 105 is like proper sports car, but the overall length is 150. It's really short.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, we'll see. We'll have a go.
So front track width is 69 inches. Is the rear track width 0? Because it's one wheel?
It's not even listed there. Yeah,
Exactly.
rear track width is 225 millimeters, I guess, right? Brembo brakes. Look at that. Brembo brakes. Does that go up? Does it have ABS?
Oops. Whoa.
I think it has ABS. Go scroll up a little bit. Does it say ABS? Yeah,
Yep.
ABS standard. Vented rotor, 339 millimeter, 4-piston, front brakes. You know, it could be all right, man. I'm going into it with positivity. I am not 225 18s in the front, 305 20 in the rear. Folks, I got to take a quick break from the action for Factor. I love Factor because I don't eat until it's too late. And the reason I don't do that is because I don't make time for myself to eat. And then what happens? I eat bad food, I overeat, I get off my diet, I do things I shouldn't do because I am starving because I didn't make the time. But time is one thing that Factor can save. It's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. They can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, you'll eat well, and you'll stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. I love these Factor meals. They're a great complement to a busy day. I wish I had one today. I wouldn't feel so frantic, but I ran out of Factor. We ate it all. They haven't sent me more yet. If you're too busy this fall to cook, but you want to make sure you're eating well, with Factor, you can skip the extra trip to the grocery store, skip the chopping, the prepping, and the cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and the nutritional quality that you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. All you have to do is heat up and enjoy, and then get back to crushing those goals. If you're looking for calorie-conscious options during the busy season, try delicious dietitian-approved calorie-smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. If you need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best, try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. Get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Get over to factormeals.com/tire50. That's factormeals.com/tire50, and then use code tire50 to get 50% off. Code tire50 at factormeals.com/tire50 to get 50% off. Folks, we're also brought to you today by Game Time. That's gametime.co. If you are trying to buy tickets to a favorite event, maybe you want to surprise your significant other, your partner, maybe you want to surprise your kid for their birthday, maybe you want to surprise your dad for Father's Day. When is Father's Day? It's after Father's Day. Forget Father's Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Christmas. Whatever it is, that process shouldn't be stressful. Game Time. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and getting hyped for the fun you have. I've talked over and over about how I used Game Time to buy some courtside WNBA tickets for my wife, and we had a great time. She loved it. Taylor Swift, that's in the news. I can just say it for the SEO. Taylor Swift. Metallica just sold out SoFi here. I'm going to that Power Up Festival out in Palm Springs. It's going to be awesome. Game Time's got flash deals and last-minute tickets. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event. You can even see the view from the seats, right, using that Game Time app. And, of course, they've got the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, and I've just listed them off. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds. It's just 2 taps and you're set. The tickets are sent right to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Get those tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, or use code SMOKINGTIRE for $20 off your first purchase. Get the app or go to gametime.co, not .com, .co. Some terms apply. Create an account and redeem code SMOKINGTIRE for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And now back to the show.
I mean, because those are big brakes up here. What, 330 millimeter?
Yeah.
Like that's a
339
that's a serious
millimeter
brake rotor. But
Yeah.
I guess with 18-inch wheels in the front.
Yeah.
With 20 in the back.
It's a 5-speed H pattern, not a 6-speed. Dry single plate clutch, hydraulic, belt drive, carbon fiber belt, Apple CarPlay standard. All right. Rockford Fosgate stereo.
It's got cruise control.
Yeah. So we'll take one up the hill and we'll see what it's about.
I bet it'll be a riot. I hope it's a fun riot, you know. I hope it's not like the Vanderhall where the handling was really
terrible.
odd. Yeah,
that
too much
was
front
really
weight.
bad. I mean, the dude who I talked to, and I talked to him for a while about this, you know, he said there's only so much you can do with this platform, but people that really care about performance and dynamics were tasked with re-engineering it to be the best it could be. And with a new motor, new ratios, new steering, new brakes, new shocks, like he said it's better. So like, all right, I'll have a go.
Nice.
See what it's about. I did sign a thing saying that I would wear a full face helmet at all times, which you should probably do, and almost nobody in LA does.
Yeah. I mean, if someone kicks a rock up, like, that's your eye.
That's rock to the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, most people driving them around in LA are going 35 miles per hour. Something could still happen, of course.
I saw someone on the highway with one yesterday.
Yo.
Backwards hat, Oakley's. I was like,
Are the
bro.
Oakley's ballistic? I mean,
Bro, you're going to fucking take a rock right to the tooth.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So bad.
That would hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Get a bolt
I've
shot
taken
to the
rocks
face.
to the face on my motorcycle before. For
Dude,
sure.
I hit a bee on the motorcycle, and that hurts, you know? And it has no mass.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
That will be
I
interesting.
actually do look forward to it. In fact, next week, we have the Slingshot and a Bentley Flying Spur Speed at the same time. Which I don't think there could be two more. I mean, are there
greater difference in price?
two, quote, cars that are more different on the spectrum right now than a Slingshot and a Flying Spur Speed?
I think only if it was a Bentayga, because then it's a SUV. Otherwise, no. That is a huge disparity.
Enormous disparity.
One is the most extroverted yet inexpensive, like exciting thing you could drive.
And the other
Bentley,
one is like, it's a Bentley, but it's pretty understated when it comes to the exterior styling, especially in that color. But like when you get inside, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
you know?
and the Polaris inside, the last one at least, it was like a Rubbermaid tub, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can hose the whole thing out. They say they've upgraded the interior, but it's definitely still water resistant for sure. I mean,
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the company makes UTVs and shit. So it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I always wanted to drive a T-Rex. You ever drive one of those?
Me too, but
they just look cool.
I haven't tried in years, but at the time I had I did have an opportunity to do it at one point, and I couldn't fit in it. They're little.
They look small.
When was the last time you saw a T-Rex?
In a rap video in 02,
Yeah,
probably.
I haven't seen one on the road in forever.
I mean, for the young people listening.
Campagna is the name of the company that made that.
It's
where the fuck would you, I guess, can you buy them new still?
Yeah.
You can?
Campagna
T-Rex?
Motors has a website.
God, these things were fucking cool. I mean, these seem pretty rowdy.
You know what? I guess, I mean, it's the same layout as the Slingshot, right?
Yeah,
It's
just
you're
as
sitting
dangerous.
in front of the rear wheel. Yeah, these just I think they look better. I like the rounder shape. But at the time when they came out, they stood on their own. And I remember them doing a lot of burnouts and donuts in videos. Yeah, they looked hectic.
Well, these have proper like superbike powertrains. This one's the T-Rex like RR something. It's like got a Hayabusa motor. What is it? What motor is it?
280 horsepower. Almost the same as the Slingshot. Oh, but it weighs 800 pounds less.
Yeah, it's 1,100 pounds. Woo. Fucking thing is probably ridiculous. It's probably a good time.
I'd like to autocross
bucket
one.
Seats. You can choose your chassis tubing color.
Whoa.
How about that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Custom colors.
Yeah.
We're like, speaking of Polaris Slingshots, here's their competitor.
I mean, dude, fucking hit me up, Campagna. If you've got one of these things in LA, 10,000 RPM.
Kawasaki,
Yeah, it's a Kawasaki ZX14 motor.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now we're talking. I wonder if I could fit in one.
Sequential
It's
box.
got a sequential. Yeah. And they do have reverse. At some point, they didn't have reverse.
Yeah, we should try both.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be a fun comparison.
I have a helmet.
Yeah.
And you don't need a motorcycle license for these.
You do not, which is hilarious. So anyway, Slingshot, that could be cool. What else is happening in cars right now?
I tricked my dad.
Huh?
So the kit Cobra that we built years ago, the tires are the ones we put on when we built it. And I have for years told him the Paul Walker story.
Yes.
And explained tires age, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, but there's so much tread left.
That's not how that works at all.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I'll buy you tires. And he's like, no, these are fine. And then, so I just told him, I was like, I'm friends with the PR person of a tire company. They're going to hook us up. And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. I just bought him tires. I just bought him tires
funny.
on
He just
Summit.
didn't want you to pay for them.
Yeah.
But it's like, if it's free, okay.
I think he accepts the reasoning, but he's like, no, you shouldn't pay. Like, save your money.
Yeah.
And I just told him, like, you know,
you just say you probably saved his life.
Exactly.
You might have just saved his
that's
life
what I figured.
for $1,100.
Yeah.
Or whatever. What kind of tires did you get?
Mickey Thompson, like.
Are these like slicks?
No. They make it's
like a vintage style tire.
Vintage tire, very similar to the BF Goodrich TA you see on like every hot rod. They're not great, but the only options I could find for that car were these either the Mickey T's or the BFGs, which were $200 a tire, or Dan Kahn recommended these tires that are like amazing, sticky, popular in vintage racing, but they're $850 a tire.
What are they like?
They're also called Avis, but they're not. Avis BMW shop.
They're $800 a quarter.
They're made in the Netherlands, and the only shop I could find that sold them here was like a racing shop that had a website that was made in '94.
Oh yeah, that's how you know it's the good stuff.
Yeah, and it is.
If
but
you're
he's
making
not
enough
racing.
money on tires that you don't need to update your website in 2 decades, God bless you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
So
he doesn't need that.
He doesn't.
That's not. Yeah, he doesn't need that.
Yeah.
That's good move.
Yeah.
Good move. Your dad's done a lot of nice things for you.
That's what I figured.
Keeping him alive.
He kept me alive.
Right.
I crashed some things.
But
so.
But I mean, you've had that Cobra's at least 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no good.
It's no good.
At that Manhattan Beach Cars and Coffee, I found a bunch of tires that were fucking real outdated. A guy had a 1,000-kilometer BMW M1. In fairness, I'm pretty sure this thing was like trailered to the parking lot around the corner and then just driven in.
Probably.
But it had the original tires on it.
Yeesh.
And I was like, dude, please. Like, you add no value to the car.
Yeah. People think, like, if it's in a museum, maybe. But you know what? If I walk through a museum and I see a car, I don't care what tires it's on as long as they look like the right size. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. And
I
you
won't
can
notice
buy
it.
new tires that look like the original tires today for almost anything. And even if you care that much, if it's like literally concours level shit, like keep the fucking original tires in a bag. Just
like snow tires.
Just keep them. Just keep them on the side, but they don't need to be on the car ever. There's no good reason for that. And I see so many cars. The biggest offenders by far are Diablos. So many Diablos are running around on original tires.
Do you think that's because
Ford
the
GTs
price
and Carrera GTs too.
of the Diablo tires is insane? Because aren't they like $335 rears?
I mean, they're pretty expensive, but not compared to the maintenance of a Diablo. It's like one of the most expensive cars on the planet to maintain.
Not compared to healthcare after an accident in the United States.
Yeah, and I just think that a lot of these cars have very low miles, and a lot of the people, just like your father, there's tread on them. They just equate tread remaining to tire life remaining, and that's just not how that shit works at all.
A great Reddit subthread is mechanic advice because a lot of people asking. There's two things. There's people asking very practical questions. They clearly don't know cars, but they're looking to get the right advice.
Yeah.
Very helpful community. And then there are people asking dumb questions where their frame has literally cracked in half because it's overly rusted, and they're like, "How can I drive this to work with baling wire around it?" And everyone's like, "You need to bury that car." But a lot of people post tire pictures, and they'll say like, "Hey, is this bubble okay to drive on?" And the answer is no.
The cracks in the sidewall.
But people point out the cracks, and so many of the people in the community have no idea that the cracks are a bad thing because all people are trained or raised to look at is tread depth.
Yeah, it's. I wish that was like, part of your standard education about cars was that there's 2 ways for these things to get old. But yeah, I go around Cars and Coffees and I see this shit all the time. Really nice cars on really old fucking tires. And some people get mad at me when I point it out, but I'm like, I'm literally trying to save your life, homie. Like, if you can afford this car, like you can afford to like not die driving it. Like it's just I don't know anyone that's ever put new tires on their car and not immediately been like, oh. Like my physical therapist, who I helped him find his first 911, came with some tires from like 2016 on it. And he was like, I was like, you need new tires. And he's like, okay, I'll get them. But like, let me just drive on it like a little bit. And I was like, be fucking careful, dude. Like, and he drove on a little bit, and I was like, okay, now we're going to get tires. We got him tires, and got some I was like, you can get this, this, or this, but you should really get this. And it was Super Sport, or PS4Ss. And he put them on. He texted me. He drove the car like 2 miles up the road. He texted me, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like the ride, the quietness, the performance, the grip. Like he was just like, oh, this. I don't know anyone that's ever put new tires on their car and then regretted it.
I mean, if you chose, some tire designs have like a louder ride because of the tread blocks.
Well, if you choose the wrong tire, that's the same guy has a 2002 Dodge Dakota beater that he's had since it was new. And like, great, you got a beater. He's like, I want to get BFG KO2s. I was like, you do not. Guys, I got to take a quick break from the action for Prize Picks. It's the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America with the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports apps. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. And Prize Picks is now offering Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account. This to $100. One more time, that's prizepicks.com/tire and use code TIRE for a first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports are made easy with Prize Picks. Now back to the show. He's like, they look fucking cool. I go, they do. Mm-hmm. That cool look makes them loud as shit. It's like,
but the KO2s you had on the Raptor were not as loud. Oh, the new ones, right?
Those weren't KO2s. Those were KOs.
Really?
The original Raptor tire was not a KO2. It was a KO.
Wait, which K are they at now? The KO3?
I don't know. But the ones I had on my Porsche were way loud, and the ones on the Raptor were not loud.
Okay, because we put KO2s on the E30.
Yeah.
The red one that I built with Musto and Thad, and you know what? Honestly, that car was so loud inside.
That car was loud as shit anyway.
Who knows?
When I went from the Porsche, when I went from the KO2 to the Falcon Wild Peak, the car got 5-6 decibels quieter.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Like I actually thought in the Porsche, I thought I had like a bad hub. Like it would go whoa, 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 whoa. Like it made a noise where I was like, something's broken. And then I learned it was the tires when I bought snow tires. I bought Blizzaks, which looked kind of boring. They didn't have deep tread. They looked like a crossover tire. And when I drove it to Mammoth, I was like, this car's fucking silent. Holy shit, it was the tires.
Wow.
So I threw the BFGs away. And granted, they're good at what they do, which is sand. But I threw those away and I got Falcon Wild Peaks, and it was almost as quiet as the regular tires for basically almost the same off-road performance. So like, those tires do look cool. They look meaty as shit, but they make a lot of noise if you don't need what they're offering.
Yeah, that's a big thing with off-road tires.
You had some things on a list there. Look at that.
We covered them all except a few shows ago we were talking about the biggest delta in engine size, I think, available.
Right. Yeah.
And so one of our fans, who is very smart, replied, the latest delta between cylinders, in 2018 and 19, you could get a 7 Series in North America with a 4-banger, which is the 745E. Also a 6-cylinder, a V8, and the V12.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So, yeah.
A couple people replied to me that I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't they were being particularly unclever, but they said that there was a car that was available in full electric and with a 12-cylinder engine. I wasn't counting 0.
Right. We wanted to go from 3 cylinders to whatever.
Yeah. It was tiny gas engines, but that's a good one. The hybrid, the 745E it was a 4-cylinder hybrid or a 12. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I like that. I think that's probably the biggest discrepancy.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, we have a lot from the Patreon. Of course, if you want to talk to us via this show, patreon.com/the Smoking Tire Podcast is where it's at. We have some leftovers from, I guess these were from the Pro Driver show, right? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are from the Pro Driver Show.
That's
but that's
correct.
okay.
That's correct.
They count. Pro drivers count. They
make
more.
up like 92% of our Patreon population as well.
It is. Is it that much? Yeah. Fucking go Pro drivers. Craig says, opinion of the MR2 Spyder as a weekend canyon car. Interested in handling and overall feel. Miata doesn't do it for me. I haven't driven one in a while. When I drove it, I remember it being fine. That was kind of it. It didn't specifically impress me in any way, but it was fine. It was a cheap way to get a mid-engine car that was reasonably reliable.
I think didn't they come with the ZZ engine too?
I don't believe they did. I think people would put the 2ZZ engine in them. I think that was a common thing to do, was to do the Elise engine swap into the MR2. I assume they're like okay, but they've when I drove one. There's a video of it. I remember it being all right. I don't remember anything about it specifically that made me go, "Oh, this is the thing."
So the Spyder only came with the 1ZZ FED,
yeah,
and 138 horsepower.
That's the single overhead cam, I think, and the 2ZZ is the dual overhead cam.
No, the 1ZZ is also dual overhead cam and has
less
variable valve. Yeah.
Okay.
But 140 horsepower. Yeah.
Probably not that impressive. But if a Miata doesn't do it for you,
I mean, this goes with budget.
I'd rather have like a 1992 MR2 Turbo than a Spyder, the curvy one.
Oh,
the early 90s one. I mean, what a great looking car.
Such a good looking car.
And there's a lot of mods from Japan that you can do, including full JDM engine swaps. Driven a couple of those and been very impressed.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad car, and Spinelli sure liked his, but it never really did anything for me. Throw some D's on it. Says, have you ever been into the silver or gold Casio data banks? Okay, wait a minute. Basically, he's asking, are we into sort of cheap watches from the 90s that might have some kind of like nostalgic, ironic flair to them versus more expensive watches? The Casio Databank is like a calculator watch. The Timex Expedition is like kind of like the Iron Man watch that people were wearing. I mean, I had a gold G-Shock for a minute, and I personally have found that the digital watches, solar watches, there's nothing wrong with cheap watches, like nothing. If your budget is limited, or if you like cheap watches, like fucking great, you're a cheap date.
Or if you like need something to climb or hike or
something that's like
whatever.
It's like basically a throwaway watch, like fucking awesome. Like how fortunate that you love those cheap watches. For me, watches are about a connection to a machine. It doesn't, like, I'm not anti-quartz, I'm not anti-digital. But for me, I do want a mechanical movement, and I want that connection to machinery. That's part of the thing for me.
And I think that would probably, I mean, values are who knows what, the future is uncertain, but I think the digital watch is like, it's always about the newest technology. So those watches were cool when we were younger because it was like, holy shit, the watch can do this, but now you have the Apple Watch. So there might be, like you said, some nostalgic interest in these things. Like, oh yeah, when I was in junior high, I thought that was awesome. But
like a Radwood watch, basically.
Yeah, Radwood watch. Yeah. But it's not going to probably hold value and be an heirloom.
It won't hold value. It's like, it's $50 now, and it'll be fucking $30 on the used market. I love a beater watch. If that's what you're into, it's great. I mean, if your idea of the best meal on earth is $12 cheeseburger and French fries, God fucking bless. Consider yourself fortunate. Cheap taste.
True.
It's all right. If you're really rich, but you just want to drive, Christian von Koenigsegg's favorite car is a Miata. God bless.
Miata is always the answer.
And I have a Seiko that's like under $200 that I wear all the time, that I wore on this show like a week ago. And it's like not, by watch standards, it's not expensive, but it is mechanical.
Did you get that one modified by the people?
No, I bought it on fucking Amazon. It's the Arabic dial one, and it's great as is. I put a strap on it, and am just as happy taking that out of the box and wearing it as some expensive thing. But you're not going to get a good mechanical watch for less than like 150. That's about the floor. Dustin Height says, thoughts on DIY manual swapping a 430, a gated manual Ferrari for $115K plus a $20K swap. Seems like it should be more popular than it is. I don't believe you could do that yourself for 20 grand. I think the parts from Ferrari don't really exist. And I think the people that are making the parts may or may not want to sell them to you because their business is probably doing swaps also.
The business is probably in the labor as much as the parts, right?
It's both, but I know for a fact that the OEM parts supply for a manual for Ferrari 430 is slim or none. I don't think it's possible for 20K like you say. If it is, have at it. But I don't think I think the parts availability will hold you back.
Probably complicated too.
I met a guy at the Quail this year who showed me pictures of his Challenge Stradale that he manual swapped, and he said it took him a year to get the parts to do it. And that's a 360.
Siegel? Is that his name?
No, he did a 458, Jeff Siegel, right. And that's a whole other level of engineering. I don't know what that takes. God bless him, but. It took this guy a year to get the parts to do a 360, and he had to buy a crashed car.
Jeez.
So, like, it wasn't, like, easy. He had to buy a second car to do it. So, okay. Crisp Ono says, I'm running Boostane in a 2020 STI to allow for a 93 octane OTS tune in California. To avoid dipping below 93, I add the Boostane when the car is low on fuel and then drive a mile to the gas station and fill the tank. Do you think there's any risk with this method? I don't want to drive around with a bottle of Boostane in the car. It smells and there's the risk of bursting into flames in an accident. Well, a mile? No, you're probably not even driving the fuel that's in your lines for a mile, especially if you're keeping it low RPM and light throttle. I don't think there's any risk there. So he's talking about basically pouring a full bottle of Boostane into the car with low on gas, so creating a mixture in the tank that could be very, very
like
high
race
on
gas.
octane.
Yeah.
For a mile, I don't think that's a problem. I think that's probably fine.
The bigger thing, in my head, is, I mean, if you only go a mile, if you go a little further, is then you might start using the Boostane before you put the gas in.
That's
so maybe
what I mean. So it might
reverse.
change the thing. Like when I carry the Boostane around in my car, it comes in metal bottles, which you can't see in. So you can't really measure it properly how much you need. Right? So you have the Boostane app that tells you how much you need, right? So I have 12 gallons of gas and I need to convert it from this to this, and here's how many ounces of Boostane you need. So I went from the 32-ounce bottles, I bought the little Pyrex bottles, and then I have a little Pelican case with foam in there, and I have 2 8-ounce Pyrex bottles of Boostane, clear. So I know I can meter it out much easier.
Do they leak at all? The Pyrex stuff? Oh, good. Okay.
No, it's got a screw top.
No, I know. I'm just, sometimes solvents come out. So maybe this might be a good idea for Ono as well.
This works for me. You don't smell it. You certainly don't. You screw it on, and then it's inside of a Pelican case, which is a watertight case. And I've never smelled it. And I think this Pelican case would probably survive an accident. Unless it was like some really horrific thing. I'm not sure it's dangerous per se to drive around with Boostane in the car. I don't know if Boostane on its own, I'm sure it's flammable as hell. It's probably flammable, but I don't know how flammable.
The risk of a car catching on fire in an accident is fairly low, but it does happen. Yeah. It depends on the severity of the crash. We don't want to theorize, but I think if Ono is willing to put the Boostane in the car, drive to the gas station, I think it's probably just as safe to go to the gas station, get that gallon, fill up the tank, and drive home, because whatever's in the lines is basically his mixed gas, right?
Yeah, I would go to your house, get the bottle of Boostane,
Or do that.
drive a mile to the station with the Boostane in the bottle, and then pour it in your tank at the gas station versus pouring it in your, you know what I mean? Like
I would do the two other things we described versus pouring the Boostane in the tank at home
versus creating some crazy mixture at your house. Yeah. Let's see. Richard says, it looks like the prices of certified pre-owned Taycans has dropped below $80K in some cases. Have you considered one for your next daily driver? No, I'm not buying a used EV ever. I mean, I don't want to say ever. Anytime soon. I want used EVs. I will be leasing brand new. Or I will be leasing brand new EVs. I definitely want 100% warranty coverage, maximal. EVs are appliances. They're not collectibles. I understand why somebody might feel differently, but like I have zero interest in a used EV of any kind. Yeah.
No further questions, Your Honor.
No further questions. Okay. Zach Williams says, my dad is looking to replace his GT3 that was stolen last year. Porsche dealers are charging over for GT3s and GT4 RSs. He's become interested in McLarens. Would you rather have a used 720 with 10,000 miles or a brand new Artura for similar money?
That is an interesting question.
That's tough.
Because you probably didn't watch Throttle House. They did their Artura review and they put it out, and their car had a bunch of problems on the launch. And like McLaren reliability, I mean, when the cars are new, they tend to be better. But that's an interesting, like, Sophie's Choice kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like the 720S is simpler, but 10,000 miles on it. I think, can you not just get a GT3? Like, that sucks if your insurance pays you out and then...
Right.
Well, you can't find a 991.3.
Like, I'd rather have a 991.2 GT3 with a stick.
Yeah.
If you're asking me what I would replace that GT3 with, a 991.2 touring stick would be the right car for me.
Probably cheaper than a 720S.
Yeah, for sure.
Or similar.
For sure.
Yeah,
but if I was only choosing between a new Artura and a used 720, I would have the new Artura. It's really, in any practical sense, it's just as fast. It's more comfortable. Well, I'd want maximum warranty coverage. I would really not want an out of warranty McLaren.
Yeah.
The cars they're all great to drive. They're all really fucking fast.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, again, in the Throttle House video, they pulled up some forum comments of Artura owners.
Yeah.
And there are some problems occurring.
Sure.
So I think your theory is correct.
I mean, I would say that there's probably a higher percentage of McLaren owners that are involved in forums and complaining than other brands. But that being said, like, yeah, McLarens can be unreliable for sure. For sure. I would want one with the longest warranty possible.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think 720s are amazing. I loved my week with the 720, but if I was going to own one, I'd probably rather own a brand new Artura. Let's see. Retrofit. What is? Can you move the thing is blocking it?
Oh, sorry. I have two mice.
A Metrofit says a mechanical watch with a quartz component which every night gives the gears a little nudge to keep the time precise. Has anyone done this? What you're describing is sort of halfway between two things. One, there's something called mecha quartz, which is what it sounds like. It is a quartz escapement that is attached to a mechanical movement.
That is the crystal version of a transformer, I think.
Kind of. I mean, rather than having a winding rotor and a spring, it has a quartz crystal that then has like a mechanical chronograph module and date wheel on it. So you get some mechanicals and some quartz. There's also Seiko spring drive, which is a mechanical movement, but that is regulated by a quartz-based escapement, where the thing doesn't go tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. It only spins one way and then is regulated by this sort of electro brake that keeps the speed constant. And so those are the two things that that's not exactly what retrofit described, but that are similar. I love spring drive. I think spring drive is incredible. It's the beautiful. It doesn't go tick 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 tick. Tick. It goes shh. Sweep. Oh, it's so good. All-wheel drive bias. What are some of the biggest missed opportunities you've seen from manufacturers? Missed opportunities.
Not putting buttons in things, moving to screens too aggressively.
I mean, the biggest one is charging huge premiums for manual transmissions in supercars. You know, if Ferrari offered a manual version of every car they made and it was $150,000 more, people would pay it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not doing. The writing has been on the wall for 8 years now. I mean, it's really surprising.
Also, every manufacturer should have an off-road variant of their supercar now.
That's going to happen, I think.
Probably.
I mean, if they sold out of Storados, then everyone's got to follow suit.
Everyone should be doing that. Missed opportunities. I think. Well, I can't say it's missed because it still might be coming, but we talked about it on the Pro Driver show last week with Mac Hogan. I think that EVs should come with soundtracks of historically significant gas-powered cars from their model lineage and a variety of them.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
Seems like it should.
It just seems. And if you're an engineer, you're going to scream, but it seems simple. If they have recordings of these engines, and I know Forza puts a lot of work into recording a car from like 18 different angles, but it seems like an OEM could do that.
Yeah, or they could pay Forza.
Or license the sounds from Forza, and then just, attach it to like the accelerator, and there you go. Yeah,
it's totally possible and doable, and they should do it.
And they already have the speaker for the Hans Zimmer whatever the fuck sounds, so now just put a V8 in there.
Yeah. I think those are probably the two. Those are some of the biggest ones.
I could see that being the purchasable ringtone of this era.
Yeah, I think Rolls-Royce should have been the first luxury car to market with an EV. I think the fact that they had that concept in like 2015 with the electric Phantom, they should have gone straight to production with that. But
they're a very careful company. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they're old school, but like that's something that I think would have probably sold very well. And
it suits the car, of course, as we discussed. Yeah.
Promit bought a Lotus Evora GT. Congratulations.
Nice.
Great car. Factory Cup 2s are due for replacement soon. For a road car that only sees 1 to 2 track days a year, is there any reason to stay with the Cups instead of switching to PS4Ss? No, there is not. You should absolutely switch to PS4S.
Yep.
I drove an Evora GT on the same track day, the same day, with Cup 2s, and then halfway I switched to PS4Ss. The difference was about 3/4 of a second a lap, and the feel was almost identical, and the car was much better to drive on the road. So unless you really care about and by the way, the Cup 2s, I had a warm-up lap. My second lap was the fastest lap of the day, and then every lap after that was about a half a second slower. Whereas the PS4Ss were much more consistent throughout the day. So unless you care about your lap time, I would just say get the 4Ss. Chris N says, why do you think other car brands have not chosen to lower gear ratios on their track special cars like the 765 LT? Seems like Porsche or Ferrari could change the feel of their cars with changes to the gearing. They usually just ditch the high 7th for weight, but leave the ratios the same. Some of their cars, all the gear ratios are changed. The RS cars have totally different gear ratios. I don't know about Ferrari, but at Porsche, they are different.
Yeah, and they also still have to, worry about the emissions, noise, all that stuff. I don't know if there's a manufacturer size thing where McLaren's smaller than Porsche, which they are, so they can get away with shorter gearing or whatnot. But there's been so many articles written about the sound of the new 911 GT3 being whatever because they have to pass these emissions tests in Europe and has to be able to sell worldwide. So that might be a factor too. I don't know.
Yeah, but the RS cars do have different gear ratios. They are changed.
He's probably talking about like crazy short, like the LT was such a big difference.
The LT is such a big difference because the car now, after the change, the car now has the top power. The increase in power, the reduction in weight, and the change in gearing result in a car that will spin the tires in third and fourth gear at 100 miles an hour. Most other cars can't do that. Mm-hmm. So like,
it's true. And it's also making 260 more horsepower than a 911 GT3.
Yeah. Do the Demons have different gear ratios?
Ooh.
They might have a different final drive. I mean, Ferrari doesn't. Well, I don't know that Ferrari doesn't.
Demon offers 2 final drives.
Yeah. Okay. So that changes it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can save a lot of money in development by changing a final drive rather than changing all the gears.
Oh yeah. Way cheaper.
But I think they do change a bunch. Mark Podmore says, I've had a 981 GTS. It's a brilliant car, but I fancy a change and want more extreme. What should I do? I mean, if you want to stay with Porsche, you get a GT3 or a GT4.
Add horsepower.
And get a demand engine.
That would be, keep your GTS and then just put a demand engine.
Yeah.
That would be cheaper than
Or you
GT3.
could do, I don't know how much your budget is, but you get a Corvette Z06, get on the list for one of those. They're fast as fuck. You could get a Huracan. That's
really depends on
a
the
step
budget.
up. Yeah, budget does, more extreme.
If you get a used 911 Turbo, which will be fast as just about anything.
Yeah, 992 or 991.2 Turbo S, flying, big power. It really depends on like if you want to stay with a Porsche or not. And if you do, the answers are fairly straightforward.
Oh, someone suggested I deleted it, but Viper. They're like, if you want to move to front engine, that's pretty extreme.
They're pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're the right
size. But also like pretty easy to get used to. The thing about Vipers are, from the outside they feel extreme, but when you're actually driving them, you can get used to them pretty quickly, and they start to become kind of normal.
That's true. And they have really tall gearing, which coupled with the torque and the power and kind of the heavy feel of the car leads you to like, I never drive them as manically as I would in like a Boxster.
Yeah, the long gearing and the long wheelbase, I think, and being so far away from the nose, it does that. Maybe a Shelby 350R, that could be a little more extreme, faster, aggressive.
Way more noise.
Definitely aggressive, yeah. Stu Dog says, thoughts on the new Model 3 Highlands unveiled last week. Outside seems like a downgrade. The interior changes seem nice aside from the no-stalk steering wheel. I don't know. I wouldn't say the outside it looks a downgrade. I think it looks like a basic-ass facelift of an old car. I think Tesla gets a lot of news coverage and praise for doing basic facelifts that other manufacturers do all the time for basically zero fanfare.
I mean, every car company will put out a press release when they do a facelift.
Yeah.
And it's the new model, or no, sorry, not a new model, but it's just the refresh. Like, they all do it, so I wasn't throwing tons of shade at them. The car just looks so incredibly similar to previous ones.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't lift much face, I guess. And when you said Highland, I expected it to be like, an Outback version, like the Wilderness thing.
That could be interesting.
There you go. I mean, that's what's the Model Y?
They should Outback the Model Y, yeah.
They could. It would reduce the range, but you could do that.
I mean, it's been 7 years since that car has been released without any refresh. So
that's a long time.
That's a lot longer than most other manufacturers. And so, a basic ass front and front and rear refresh and some interior updates is like literally the least they could do.
Oops. That's not
And a Model 3 is an okay car. It's not built very well, but it's an okay car, especially considering how fucking cheap they are right now.
They keep discounting them, I know.
They're cheap. It's inoffensive. The no stalk steering wheel is bad. I just drove the Model S Plaid without the stalks. Fucking terrible. I mean,
what about Ferrari? Like, I got used to that pretty quick.
But those are here.
Yeah.
That's here and here.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Model S, it's here and here. It's 2 haptic buttons on the left side with an arrow pointing that way and that way.
Oh, both blinkers on
They're
one
both
same
on
side.
the left side,
Right.
and it doesn't have a noise. It doesn't go tick tock tick tock tick tock. It's like
What?
almost silent. So not only do you not get a feedback that you've pressed a button, but you don't get an auditory feedback that the thing is on.
So everyone's driving around like a 95-year-old with their blinker
Yeah.
on.
And there's also no real difference in between the 3 blinks changing lane and like a stay on. Same. And yeah, it's not great.
Okay.
It's not great.
The idea is there's idea and then execution. And Ferrari had idea, then execution.
For the record, I don't love Ferraris either.
I don't love it, but I got used to it really quickly.
Yeah.
And the buttons are actual buttons.
Yeah.
You feel them and your thumbs know where they
you
are.
can hear it go click. Duck,
And that
duck,
you get
duck,
used to it quick.
And Lamborghini is now does the motorcycle one. So Lamborghinis is weird. It's a toggle switch left and right. It's a physical switch. And if I didn't ride motorcycles, I would probably hate it. Because I do ride motorcycles, and it's exactly the same as a motorcycle switch. I don't mind it. But I could understand why people wouldn't like it, and at least it's a physical switch.
Mm-hmm.
Raiderman 0203, looking to buy a gently used Jag F-Type V6S coupe. In my research, I came across the video of me driving my mom's Jag through Greenwich. How does the car work out for long term? My mom's Jaguar, which she still has 6,300 miles on it. And about 3,000 of those I added because when my parents were building their new house, they didn't have anywhere to keep it. And so they shipped it out here to me for a year and a half where my wife daily drove it when she was in between cars. It is a overwhelmingly lovely car. It's very well made. There have been no problems with it. It has only seen regular service. We did do a set of tires, and I think these cars are fantastic used bargains. And you know who agrees with me is Jeremy Clarkson, who just wrote a column in the Sunday Times in London 2 weeks ago because he just bought a used F-Type V6S Roadster for like no money. I think he paid like a third of the original price.
Whoa.
Under half. And he was talking about what a great car he bought for so little money. And so my mom's car, it looks great, drives great, sounds great, works great. I wish she drove it a little more, but as a senior citizen, I hope she never hears me say that, she doesn't use it all that much compared to her Q5, which she loves.
Cheap.
Huh?
I mean, you can get these.
Oh, that one's a manual.
These are all manual.
February 22.
True.
Yeah.
I just pulled these up because it's cars and bids, but I'm just curious what
the
they went for.
manuals are really the. Oh wow, that one.
These didn't sell.
That
though.
one didn't sell for $70K. Holy shit! He should have taken the money for that.
This didn't sell either. It's 2016 manual.
Yeah, if you can find a manual, they're fantastic. But even if not, the ZF gearbox is responsive and good, and I can't really talk about reliability because my mom's doesn't have enough miles on it to really be a good comp.
Can't break it if it doesn't move.
Right, but it is lovely, and I think they are fantastic buys in the used market. And if you can't or don't want a Porsche or something like that, like great, yeah, get in. Especially the coupes, which are excellent.
Dude, gorgeous car.
Okay. Christian has a kitchen question that I do not have the answer to. Wants to ask about my vent fan and the pedal-operated sink and what brands I used. I don't know. My contractor installed them, and I couldn't fucking tell you. Also, with the UAW strike looking imminent, do we have plans to interview journalists covering the strike or UAW members on their demands? I see that as being death in the numbers. I don't think that is a mainstream topic that people will on demand click on.
I think it's a topic we could talk about after people write articles.
Yeah.
And we could spend 10 minutes on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the SEO search for that
is not good.
Maybe low.
We have a real
which
problem.
Unfortunately, we have to think about.
Yeah, in the on-demand podcasting world, when you have an on-demand show like a podcast or a YouTube show, but that is also driven by ad sales, which are driven by numbers, we have absolutely no choice but to have guests on that are going to do better numbers than us by ourselves. Unless it's like a cause I'm like super passionate about or interested in. Not that I'm not like pro-unions. I'm very pro-unions, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that would do well. I just think it would be death in the numbers. Is that bad? I don't
know. We'll see if colleagues of ours cover it or have stories about it. Maybe we could do a small piece like that.
Yeah. Tyrrell Northcutt says, both of you have owned performance cars for a long time. What is the secret to deciding when enough is enough when it comes to modifications, specifically ones that increase power and handling? How do you become content with the car and not always want more?
So I'm editing this supercharged ISF video right now, which is, well, people listening will be available on the main channel. But to my absolute shock, the owner of this car, I was like, well, what else do you want to do? And he's like, nothing. I really like it the way it is. And I started laughing like a maniac because that's the first person I can remember who modified their car and was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because people, I mean, it's like a bug and a hobby and dopamine, all these things. You're like, oh, I want to tweak a little thing here, or you change something over there and you get inspired to change a different piece. So I think it depends on what the car's purpose is. If you want to drive it on the street, if you take it too far and it makes it difficult to drive the car on the street, either comfort-wise or, getting like 110 octane fuel for it's difficult or something, like then maybe that's when you know it's enough. But it just depends.
I think the further I've gotten into the hobby, the more I can kind of look down the road and predict when enough will be enough before I get there. When I was a kid, there was no such thing. More speed, more handling, whatever. Maybe my body could take more abuse then, Now, like, I mean, specifically like with the Safari car, like I knew what the end was, did it all at once, and then I was done. Or with the Spyder, I knew what I wanted the end product. I drove one and I went, oh, that's fucking enough. Got there, and now that car's done.
I think avoiding forums and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, like, forums are an amazing resource. I use them for DIY stuff all the time. But what I'm saying is those groups, it's easy to get caught up in FOMO and Joneses of like, oh, you think your brakes are good. You should really try these upgraded AP racing brakes. Like, the brakes on your Spyder are awesome. You don't need more brake.
Right.
But someone out there might track their car really hard and might need more brake or think they need more brake. And if you hang out with those people too long, you start going, maybe I need more brakes.
Yeah.
So that's also a way to
don't
avoid
listen
that.
to others when it comes to things you, quote, should do.
It basically, like, do your own research. Like, if someone likes their upgrade, if you can drive their car, then you'll determine if that upgrade is beneficial to you in your life.
And I think upgrades should solve a specific problem. You drive your car and you don't like one aspect of it, you could find a way to change that, and then you have to know, well, what the other side of it is. If I improve the handling, is it going to ruin the ride? If I do this. So I've done enough things to cars that have had unintended consequences that now I can see those unintended consequences before I do the thing, and I know when to not do the thing. Yeah. Sean Finney, what automotive opinion has changed the most over the last 5 years? 5 years ago, I thought the Cybertruck was completely fake. And now I think that they will sell a product called Cybertruck, and I just know that it's not the Cybertruck they promised originally.
Yeah, well, I mean, most concept cars don't go to production in their
but they don't
form.
usually take deposits based on the concept
That's
form.
true. They do. That's
They don't
true.
usually get on stage, tell outright lies,
Throw a rock at
and
the
then
window.
ask for money.
That's very true.
Remember, it's going to have an exoskeleton. It's going to be exoskeleton construction. It's going to be bulletproof. Remember that shit?
Well, now they want the tolerances to be down to like 5 nanometers.
Good fucking
Basically,
luck.
they want to reduce the tolerances to such a precise number that would be very, very, very hard for production, because because of the flat panels, if they're not perfect, they warp and you see it, which is like,
right. So 5 years ago, I thought it was an actual scam. Now I think it was just ridiculous hubris. So that's one that's changed.
I don't know if 5 years ago I thought EVs would save the world, but I definitely didn't know as much as I do now about precious metal supply and the impact everything has, because we learned through this job. So my opinion on hybrids has definitely changed, and I'm super pro-hybrid.
Rich B, do I publish or share some of my routes? I live in the Hudson Valley and want to know some fun routes. I mean, no, but like you don't need to do that. You just got to pull up Google Maps and look for the squigglies.
But you have a brand, Matt. Someone wants to drive the route you drove.
It's the squigglies.
It's the right one.
You go to Google Maps and there's roads. Some of them go like this, and some of them go like this.
Well, and what's fun,
the one that do that.
If they find their own route, like the route you choose for the criteria of the road and track thing may be different than what a person wants to experience. Like the fun part of driving all the roads around you is you get to decide what you like for what car you're driving.
And if homie's in the Hudson Valley, he's got some fantastic roads up there. I don't know if he was seeking to learn more or if he said he had some he wanted to share, but like I don't need anyone to share routes because like I can use Google Maps and look for the squigglies. Mm-hmm. That's the way to do it. And like then just go drive them. Google Maps, Google Street View, get in your car and drive it. Very easy. Michael S., how often do you jump into a car and think to yourself it would be a bad idea to turn off the driver's aids? I remember when Tom Morningstar would turn off traction control in like every car to go to the grocery store. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what are your plans for this drive?
I did that sometimes.
You know,
I was hoping for a burnout, just a taste. I needed a taste, Matt. Remember my audition for that show? It was like I drift my food, like a little bit, but it was so stupid.
But like I've seen people who we get in a car for a regular drive and turn off the driver aids. Yeah. And I go, what are you doing?
Especially now when driver aids are so much more nuanced. Like the traction control in my M3 is on-off switch, so that's not very good. But nowadays, you have like track modes and all these things. I mean, it can rein you in just enough to make you feel like you're driving the line perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a reason to turn that off.
And like, I'm not fucking Schumacher, but I could turn off the traction control and driver's aids in any car at any time and be confident that I am not going to crash it because I will still drive within the limits of the car. When I'm on a road driving up a canyon, it's not the traction control that's keeping me on that road. It's my right foot. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting into the traction control or the ABS at all. So there will be no difference to how I'm driving if this shit is on versus if this shit is off. It's only on a racetrack where I'm using full throttle and the limit of handling where that is even coming into play. I'll go spend a whole fucking day in the canyons making videos, all this shit. I won't touch the traction control because I don't need to. So like, it's only a bad idea if you literally cannot control your throttle foot. There's people that say this shit to me all the time. Like, you could how could you drive a car with that much power without like losing control? It's like, well, you use less throttle. Like
you use control.
Just because a car has that much power doesn't mean you should be accessing all of it all the time. Mm-hmm. You know? Bad Gardener, it was a shock to me that the Countach is 300 pounds lighter than a Testarossa. That's true. And if you see the construction of that car, you will understand why. What are the most surprisingly light and heavy cars? That's a tough one. I don't actually. That's a very challenging question.
That is hard.
Shit.
I mean, these days.
That might be like a whole other topic that we need to like go back and research.
That'd be fun. We should do that.
We could do that. I don't.
Gardner, you've just made yourself a segment.
I think as a genre, some like 60s muscle cars that are made of like steel but have like nothing inside the steel would be surprisingly light.
Probably.
You know, and I think there's probably some, like I just drove some EVs, you know, that don't look like much, you know, that look like regular cars, but they're like over 5,000 pounds.
Let's see. A 66 small block Chevelle with AC weighed about 3,500 pounds.
Yeah.
So, you know, actually kind of in line with today's sports cars.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit later.
I think that probably requires further research. We'll come back to that later. Mm-hmm. Tim A says, money no object, what body style and trim Porsche Taycan would you spec for LA daily driver?
Oh,
Turbo
man.
S Cross Turismo.
Yeah,
dude.
Cross Turismo.
Turbo S wagon.
Dude, the red one we drove?
Fucking awesome.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, very expensive, but very, very excellent. Okay, not really a question there. Okay, hang on a second here. Sorry, this is a long one. We have a lot of questions, so I'm only going to go to the best ones. Let's see. David says, Mazda's smallest car, the Miata, and its largest car, the CX-90, are rear drive platforms, while everything in between is on front drive architecture. Are there any other automakers that share this same quirk within their vehicle lineup? Volvo? I mean,
what's Volvo's smallest car right now?
I think their smallest car is the
40?
Yeah,
Like
the XC40, which is front drive, and the XC90 is also but the V90 is that rear drive? No, I don't know if that is. Let's see, Ford. Their largest car is like a F450 Super Duty. Their smallest car is a Mustang. And everything in between is front drive. The Edge, the Explorer, the EcoSport.
Oh yeah, someone else pointed out Camaro previously, and Silverado, which is funny because the Miata is a tiny car. Camaro's not a tiny car, but the Silverado is
you got to
gigantic.
start with like how many companies make a tiny car.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it doesn't have to be tiny. I guess it's like the smallest car a company makes.
I think maybe Ford.
Ford might win now.
Although there's probably an argument that the EcoSport is smaller than a Mustang, and that's front-wheel drive because it's on Fiesta architecture.
Yeah, that's definitely smaller. But like, the BMW, they make a front-wheel drive, the 2 Series.
Right.
Oh, well, the 1 in the 7 Series.
The 1 and the 7, but not everything in the middle. The 5 Series and 3 Series.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ford. Mustang, F350, 450, and then a whole bunch of front-wheel drive-based crossovers in the middle.
Yeah, I think you have to go with a company that makes trucks, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a crew cab long
Lexus
bed dually.
LC500 and LS or Land Cruiser, and then you've got the GS is rear-wheel drive
and the IS. Yeah.
Okay, not Lexus.
I think
Toyota, the 86 and the Tundra are rear drive, and
everything in between.
the Camry, the Corolla, the Highlander, the Sienna, maybe Toyota.
That might be it.
Possibly
right?
Toyota.
Well, 4Runner.
4Runner.
That throws it off.
I think Ford is our best one. Although Ford does have the Maverick, which is rear.
Yeah.
Might just be Mazda.
I mean, Mazda is a unique company.
Mazda is a good one.
Stands to reason.
Yeah.
But the V90 is front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive.
All right. Jack says, what would be the better second car? Has a daily Jetta. Wants a rear-wheel drive experience. New GR86 or an E36 M3 with a bunch of expensive-ass service.
No.
GR86 all fucking
It does
day.
Everything
better than an E36 M3.
And it gives you the same flavor.
And you have a
really
warranty.
Does. And that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuffode, what do you think of the BMW Neue Klasse concept? I actually think it looks very nice.
I think parts of it look nice.
Yeah. I think it is, mean, compared to what they're selling right now.
It is better than what they're selling now.
Yeah, it looks great compared to what they're selling now. Reminds me a bit of the Alphas from like the early 2000s, like the, I want to say it was like maybe the 156 or some shit. They were only sold in Europe, but some very pretty Alphas from the early 2000s. I'm not in love with the front grille. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like in production.
Yeah, I like the profile.
The profile is good.
The rear lights to me remind me of a Lincoln or Mercury. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, they
but
do.
Like the way they come
MKZ, dude. It's an MKZ.
Yeah, the way they go all the way up to the trunk lid.
Yeah.
Like it's odd. But the shape of it from the side, it's kind of cool. It's a little
attractive.
Bit of 5'10".
Yeah. Two box design. That angle is great. The hard profile.
It actually looks a lot
great.
like what was it, Nissan's, their 510 concept car they did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into it. I'm interested to see, although this concept car has like 23s on it. Like the rims are enormous. And
Steering wheel's weird.
Yeah, don't do the squeal.
And the 3-spoke, but the 3-spoke are at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
How Citroen of them.
But it looks like the wheel's cocked 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, that won't make it to production. But
very French.
Car and Driver, you need fewer ads on your pages, by the way.
What are they doing over there at Hearst? What are my top 3 cat breeds? One day I'd love to have a Maine Coon. They're just fucking huge.
Oh, they're big.
And then a Savannah cat, although that's only kind of a cat. It's part serval. That's like the 30-pound
really
cats that look like a leopard.
Yeah.
They fucking rule.
Look like they eat other cats.
And I really like ragdoll cats. They're super snuggly. You can like literally throw them over your shoulder.
Is that like the lap dog of cats?
Yeah, they're super lap doggy. Very mellow.
Breed.
Very pretty. Blue. A lot of them have blue eyes. I like orange male tabbies. They're some of the snuggliest cats out there. I like. My friend had a pair of snowshoe cats. They were gorgeous. Snowshoe cats are amazing. They look kind of like ragdolls, but with shorter hair and like fucking piercing blue eyes. Amazing. All right. Scott Hamill has a lot of words, but it boils down to what vehicle under 100K has the most comfortable seats that allow for comfort over long drives? Acura. RDX and MDX, superb.
Yeah. That and
not a
Porsche
lot of
comfort seats are also really nice, but Acura.
Yeah, under 100K. Macan.
They're really good, but I think you're right. Acura does like an impression of a Bentley seat, but for far less money because it feels like luxurious, comfortable, soft, whereas the sport seats or the comfort seats for Porsches are good, but the foam is much firmer.
Yeah.
And so I think the Acura, you can just like lean back, take a nap.
Or Mercedes E-Class. I mean, they do a great job.
Those are formed well
too.
too.
Yeah, for like a regular car, if you had to do a ton of miles, like 10 hours a day, an E-Class is where it's at.
The Acura, even in the NSX, because the seats in that were a lot like the RDX, they found a way to hold you in place by almost like something about the way it's shaped holds your spine instead of the side bolsters holding your ribs. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, these are the last two?
Last two.
Okay, have I driven a Meyers Manx? Does it fall into slow car fast or the driving dynamics not really there and it's just an aesthetic? The latter.
Yeah.
They drive like Beetles. They are Beetles. It's possible to probably make one that drives okay, but it's a style thing. The one I drove was dynamically not impressive at all. I liked the vibe. It was definitely cool, but and I'm looking forward to the electric one. But
they're like a novelty at the time.
Yeah.
It's like a mini moke thing. You're just exposed to the elements.
Yeah. MR2D2. What non-automotive guests would you like to be on your guest list?
So many.
Yeah, comics, maybe some musicians.
Yeah, musicians, actors, philosophers.
Jordan Peterson.
No,
never.
We would never get an answer to a question. That would be the problem with him. What's your favorite car, Jordan?
Confused and bored.
First, we need to analyze how we define favorite and where that word comes from.
Favorites don't exist. They're not real. There's lots of comics I'd like to have on, honestly, and talk
Just
about
all
things
of them
that weren't cars.
Yeah.
All right, that's our show. I hope Zach can piece together the remnants of our power outage in a way that is acceptable. You know what I'm going to go do right now? I'm going to go home. I have my trainer, which is good because, and then I'm actually this afternoon I'm racing on a sailboat.
Oh, cool!
Finally, after fucking 14 years in Los Angeles, doing something I've wanted to do the entire goddamn time, which is race on a sailboat with a crew of guys who I met. Because they took a tour here, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we race our boat in the Wednesday," and they're contending for the championship. It's a fast fucking boat.
That's cool.
With like a pro grade crew, and I'm going on this evening's race. So
Rad.
hopefully I'm able to be helpful and I'm not just literally dead weight. And I hope it's a great time, and I hope we win. So that'll be fun. I'll be able to talk about that next time. I've been waiting for literal years to go fucking sailboat racing in this city because I used to do it in Connecticut all the time. I could see them from my house in Venice every Wednesday. I was like, I want to be out there. Finally, I will be.
That's rad.
That's our show. Thank you to our patrons for such great questions, and we will be back later this week at some point. See ya. Bye.